Hello webcasters, this is Mark at WebcastingConferences.com. Today I'm going to show you how we deliver a multilingual webcast. To do this you need two complete systems, one running English language, one running the Russian. We use XSplit software to do the webcasting and screen switching. On the right is the English, on the left is the Russian. There are three audio feeds required for this setup. There's the house feed that the audience in the room is hearing, and then there are two translation feeds, English to Russian and Russian to English. To make the operation simple, we plug the house feed into channel 1 on the English mixer and the house feed into channel 2 on the Russian mixer. We then put the translation into channel 2 on the English mixer and the translation into channel 1 on the Russian mixer. With these mixers set up like this, if the speaker is speaking Russian, you bring up channel 2 on both systems. If they're speaking English, you bring up channel 1 on both systems. To simplify the operation of this event, we're going to slave the Russian computer to the video that's being displayed on the English language computer. To do this, we capture the output of the projector on the English machine. Select projector, live stage, then drag that over and place it on the second monitor. The second monitor is output via the HDMI and goes over to the Russian machine and is captured as an HDMI input. We see it here. If we set this machine to slave, it displays the captured output of the English language machine. Whatever happens on this machine is duplicated on the Russian machine. The audio delay on these machines is 150 milliseconds. So in order to get the Russian slave to match up, its delay is set for 300 milliseconds, so it takes into account both captures. This input called slave is showing what's coming in from the English language machine, but I still have the other inputs set up. Here's the live inputs from the camera, and here's the slave. As you can see, they're exactly the same. We have all the other inputs on this machine. There are the slides coming in. There's the slave coming in from the English language, and there are the two cameras. The input for the audio mixer comes from the house on an XLR to 1/4 inch into this headphone amplifier, which then is sent to the two channels on the mixer. It's very important that you have enough distribution amps to split the HDMI signal. There are 3, 1 for each camera and 1 for the slides coming in. It is very important that you have enough short HDMI cables to do this setup. There are 6 required for the 3 input sources to go to the 2 computers. I briefly want to talk about setting up and making sure that the Magewell capture devices are properly configured. To do this, you need to make sure the output resolution is set correctly for each device. Configure video output. This is set 1920 by 1080 at 30 frames a second. 30 frames is adequate because that's what we're streaming at. If we look at it here, 1980, 30 frames. And here, 1980, 30 frames. And here, 1980, 30 frames. To make sure that you have the bandwidth required, you need to plug each one of the capture devices into a different USB 3 port. This, I have a USB 3 hub, and then this box goes directly into the other port. A very easy way to do the titles is to put them all in one scene in alphabetical order. This way you can just click on one and it fades in, you can fade it out, you can fade it in, and you can fade them out. You could number these and have the stage manager just call the numbers, is probably the easiest thing to do. Alright, so that's the way we do it here. Everything has been simplified to make the operational task as error-free as possible. So that's what I have. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you out there on the road.